Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone as I get to ride on with you in the afternoon. Been doing this for 21 years, and I've loved every second of it. Great, great shows. Not me. It's because we have wonderful guests, and we're about to get with a wonderful guest in just a few minutes. You can find us on television a couple different ways. Channel 182 Charter Communications, that's up in North Alabama. We still got them. And then also Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And I've got something else that we're working on right now, and it's with yournews.com. Can hardly wait to get that started. We'll be talking about that in just about a couple more shows next week sometime. But again, thank you so much for watching. Continue sending email. It makes my day. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. I've got my friend Jonathon Berryhill with me right now. He's from my neck of the woods in Alabama, out that way, northern Alabama. So good to be with you today, John.
Good to be here, Donna. It's an exciting day here in North Alabama. Actually, it's an exciting day in Alabama.
Oh, absolutely it is. You got that election going on today, and I'm pretty sure you're hammering at people to vote.
Yes. As you know, I ran for state senate back in 2014. I can't believe it's been that long ago. Had a lot of support. First time ever been in politics, and just thought the Lord was calling me to that. And I really feel it was the Lord's will. I think he was just seeing if I was going to obey him. And so I did, and did not get elected, but learned a lot in the process, and actually has, helped me develop in the man that I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something about a person running for politics and a pastor of a church. I'm going to tell you, that has to be two of the hardest jobs. My dad was a minister, and so I was a preacher's daughter. Now, I was the boring preacher's daughter. My sister was the other one. But anyway, it's like all eyes were on you. And I'm going to tell you what, politics can get pretty dirty. It's dirty right here in South Carolina, too.
Oh, gosh, you're not kidding. People just feel like they can say whatever, which, it's the freedom of speech. But, I always say if it's nothing nice coming out of your mouth, maybe don't say it at all. It's crazy. But, yeah, it's, we're living in a crazy time right now. But, Alabama's still a great state. The South is pretty still solid. And there's a lot of areas in the U.S. that are amazing. And, just making sure you're aware of what's going on in your surroundings is, that's super important for each and everybody, no matter where you live.
I wanted to talk to you about running for office. And because a lot of us, I've never run for office before. I don't have a clue what it's like. I kind of do because I've been in heavy in politics, but actually me running for office, what are some of the things that you endure as running for office that most people would not think about?
Well, over the past 12 years, I've been running from office, although those years I was running for office. That's what I always tell folks because of what I learned. But, some of the things you don't realize is, people need to be aware who you are. You cannot be invisible. And I learned that in the business world as well. You can't have a business and be invisible. If you're not out there marketing, doing sales, then no one's going to know about you. So, I think the underestimated thing in politics is how much you have got to get out to get your constituents to know that you even exist. So I'm telling you, I was up at 4 a.m. most mornings. I'm 7 days a week. And I wasn't in bed till a lot of times till midnight. It was intense. It was intense. If you do it the way we ran it, and I can only imagine what president and governors and stuff like that. Oh my goodness.
Well, everything is important too. Now, a lot of people don't get out and vote, and only during the presidential election. But now, hiring, and I'm saying hiring because we hire folks to actually rule over us, and we want to get the best person possible for the job. But having your city council members voting on them is important, as well as the mayor. That's extremely important. Why do you think people don't do that?
I think just maybe they're too comfortable, or they're just, they don't think they really have a change. And this is the way I look at it. I've been part of a company. I got bought out by some venture capitalists years ago. And I remember sitting in boardrooms and stuff like that, and everything would be voted on by the board. Well, the way I look at it is all the citizens, the people here in America, whether you're the city, you're voting for mayor, city councilman, you're on the board and you're having your voice to be able to vote. And a lot of people say, oh, it's not going to matter. Yes, it does matter. It does matter. If everybody said that, then there would be no voting. So you just got to get out there and be present and listen. If you have a louder voice, volunteer. People are always wanting. I was begging people to volunteer on my campaign. And that's another thing that's hard and tough for these candidates is say, hey, who wants to volunteer? Give me your time, because the time's the most valuable commodity there is, to come out here and help me get my name out there. Oh, here's what I'm going to do for you, And so it's important for folks to listen and see what's going on and get out there and let your voice be heard by going and checking that box.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine not voting. So my dad was a Democrat and mother a Republican. And so I quizzed them about that one time. I said, aren't you canceling each other out? It was before I was old enough to vote. And they both go. And they were so stubborn and hard-headed, of course. So I said, you better believe I'm casting my vote. I voted for Ross Perot, by the way, when Daddy Bush and Bill Clinton were running. I just didn't like either one of them. So I thought Ross Perot, especially when he went in, and remember his employees had been kidnapped. He didn't want to wait on the government for anything, so he just sent his own team in to get them. And when he did that, I thought, I got to vote for him. I mean, this is one. That's the best qualified. Yeah, of course, it helped Bush, I guess, to win. But I mean, helped Clinton to win. But it's so important to get out there and vote. I mean,
absolutely. If you had a business, if you had a business and you had a board, wouldn't you want the board to vote on what you wanted? It's the same way. So as a citizen, we're part of that board that we get to go and say, yes, we want to make that decision. No, we don't want to make that decision. And if you just are apathetic in it, then, you can't fuss about change if you're not willing to participate.
That's true. Let's talk to folks who are thinking about running. Sometimes the good folks don't want to run because they're afraid they're going to get torn into shreds. There's a lot of lies and stuff like that goes on. So let's talk about that. And I wouldn't want to be the mama bear. If folks had asked me when we were living in Alabama, Donna, you need to run for state representative. Start with that. And I'm like, no way. Somebody says something about my family, I'll be the mama bear on the world news. So anyway, but I like what I do. I like getting the word out. So this is a good thing for me. It's a good step. But let's talk about that. Is it better when someone is campaigning? Is it better for them to do more online stuff or getting out there face to face with people? In your opinion, which is best?
That's a tough one. It's definitely you need both. I like getting out there face to face because sometimes people will hear things. I was dealing with this last night with one of the lieutenant governor candidates. I had somebody reach out to me talking about his official name and all this. I'm like, guys, y'all are digging in the weeds here. Okay. Let's look and focus on what they stand for and stuff like that. So when I was there face to face, if someone had we heard, then they could come up and confront me. And, I could explain. I was a supporter in Carly's Law back in 2014. And people said, oh, you're for marijuana and all this. I said, are you kidding? I was a law enforcement. I was a narcotics officer. No, I'm not for recreational marijuana. But if it could help a kid not have 100 seizures in a day, then yes, I'm for medicinal purpose. It's no different. It was more safer to me, in my opinion, than an opioid. That I've had two of my veteran buddies commit suicide that I served and went to was deployed to Bosnia with, commit suicide because they were on so many opioids. And so, to me so I got questioned with that. So face to face is real important because you get to explain. Plus people get to kind of feel the energy that you have. I'm very high strung and energetic, and online you can't really feel and see that. You can just read the words. It's kind of like text messaging. I'm always like, hey, be careful how you text message. It can come across the wrong way.
I have to tell you a story. This is even for me being in the cell phone business for like how many years. And so one of my friends, I sent her a text and she said, what are you mad about? And I said, what's she? And I read my message. Did I sound hateful? No, I didn't sound hateful. I said, what are you talking about? She said, you're screaming in your message. And I said, How am I screaming?
The cap lock. So did you?
Did it. I don't know how I did it. And and I'm very careful when I speak a text message in because my Southern English, can take something the wrong way. I've had cuss words go out before. So I really, and I don't even curse. Well, one slips every once in a while, but what I'm talking about, I'm not perfect. But I've had to watch my text messages really. So it's important to watch everything you do, whether you're running for office or whether you're talking to a customer out there, to watch what you put in your messages, because people are kind of touchy-feely nowadays, and they can take something the wrong way. But how can you be out on the ground? How can you be out there, boots on the ground? You're out there running for office. But how can you pay that much attention? Because you've got to put a lot of emphasis on the way something comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's super important, just like in the business world, to have a good team behind you. And so, when I ran for Senate, I had a great team behind me. Matter of fact, I think I told you one of my point men is running for lieutenant governor today. My campaign manager, I actually hired him as a general manager for one of my business after the campaign. And a number of the folks that worked for my campaign ended up working for me for a long period of time before I sold the business, because we had such a tight knit thing going on, and I trusted them. And so, that's why it's important to have a good, solid team, whether you're running for politics, whether you're running a business. A good team makes a difference. I can't do it by myself. And so, having good folks that come and support you is key, in my opinion. And so, I had a great team.
Same with business, man. You got to trust your folks, and they've got to trust you too. So that's a two-way street. Absolutely. Can you believe half the show is over? We're going to have to go into a commercial break.
Okay.
Just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there, okay? Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. Finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, begin 2 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always such a fun ride. Continue sending email. They make my day. You can ask my husband, Phil. When I get an email message, I'm just parading all over this place. Somebody sent me an email. So continue sending. Okay. It keeps me on my toes. If you have any suggestions, anything you would like for me to do differently, please do so. Please tell me any folks you would like for me to interview. I would love to do that as well. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Got John with me right now. John ran for office once. And so would you do it again?
I don't know. I'm not going to say no, because every time I say no, God always shows me who's in control. And so we're going to just leave it at that. You know, I'd rather not. I'd rather support from the sidelines. But, you know, if I felt the Lord calling me to do so, then yes, I would.
You know, a lot of times folks run for office and they're doing actually more good running for office than actually winning, because you're putting the word out there. Maybe some things people hadn't thought about before. It kind of the thinking.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, you're putting the heat on the opponents to make them rise up to the occasion. And so you know, if you're thinking about running for office or you want to make change, you know, take that leap of faith. It's just like starting a business. Take that leap of faith. Listen, you got one life. And so make the best of it. Don't have any regrets. You know, that's what I've done. That's, you know, the book that I'm writing, you know, Warrior to Wealth. You know, a lot of it has those stories, and it has me running for state senate, has me going to boot camp. A little bit of a life story, but it's again, it's not a biography. It's a book to help folks find their identity.
Let me ask you another question. This is about your military service. And by the way, thank you. We honor our veterans and police and everybody who is out there serving for us and keeping us a safe community. How would you say running for office or being in the military prepared you for running for office and your business?
It prepared me in an endurance type way where, you know, get up at 4:00, had to be at some breakfast. And I'll tell you what, when I ran for office, I think I gained 20 pounds. I went to so many fish fries and stuff like that. I had to like work out hard when I did not get elected. I had to get in the gym. I had to start running, but it prepared me good. I couldn't say it prepared me all the way because it was unknown. I'd never done it before, but it was an interesting, time in my life. And again, I don't regret it at all. And I learned a lot and met a lot of good people.
Mm-hmm. Endurance does good, and you never know what that's going to turn into a little bit later on in life. It's like life is a stepping stone. You know, like God it's said for me to do things before, and I'd think, why are you asking me? First of all, I'm the meekest among the meek, so why are you asking me? I mean, it's about, I've kind of always felt kind of like the Moses, the stutterer. I was quiet in school. I got quietest in who's who. And so, I mean, I hung around reading books in the library all the time. That was basically my life. So when I felt like God was leading me for the show, and I was like, me? I mean, it's going to be some kind of a big God joke. I mean, this just to see if I'm going to do it. But it's kind of a way to get the word out, because I like promoting people. It's a lot of fun. Now, when you're running for office, you're promoting people as well. I mean, you're promoting the people. I remember President Trump. Everybody was talking about President Trump. It's all about him, all this kind of stuff. But I remember when he was interviewing or introducing his vice president, he was talking about them more than he was talking about himself. I just noticed that character. So how important is it for you to diffuse something? Like when somebody tells something bad about you when you're running for office, or they're trying to give you a bad report, how can you diffuse that in a nice way?
I think, just by telling the truth, that's the key. Sometimes situations get distorted and you only get part of the story. And so, I would say most, disagreements and even arguments at home are from, lack of communication. And so, clear communication, precise communication is key. So, if some of these problems do exist, and listen, we all fall short of the glory of God, Romans 3:23. That's why we needed a savior. So listen, we're not all going to be perfect. If someone brought up who I was 20 years ago, they may not like who I was. I was a rough guy, military guy, and I'm sure, and a guy in the military got into law enforcement. I'm sure there's a lot of people that got tickets from me, or maybe I arrested, that probably don't like me. So, you got to be careful digging up stuff in the past, because then it just looks like, in my opinion, it just looks like you're really just, you're sour about someone running and you just want to throw some kind of roadblock. And to me, if it's over 10 years old or something and it's already been resolved, I think it's unnecessary and I think it's unprofessional. But, it's going to happen because, people are people.
That's right. I was going to ask you that because of Judge Kavanaugh. You remember they went back to when he was a teenager, but all this hoopla about all that stuff, I was just like, I don't think he did it, because to me it was like your competitor in business. I've had competitors before come after me, and I just brush it off, and then I just continue doing what I've got to do, because what happens is it's a form of jealousy, and you might be showing them up. All they're doing is admitting that you're showing them up.
Yeah, you're showing up and you're showing out, and they're afraid that you're actually going to make change or win. And so, exactly. You show up at ball games, football teams line up head to head. What are they trying to do? Win. And so what are the opponents going to do? They're going to do all they can to prevent you from winning. So, in life, it's the same way. I always tell folks, you can read the Bible. No matter how good of a person you are, you're going to always be the bad guy in someone's story. And look at Jesus Christ. He was even the bad guy there when they crucified him. So, don't worry about it. Use it as a speed bump, use it as fuel, whatever. Spend 60 seconds thinking about it and forget it, move on.
These are midterm elections. So we'll have another election coming up pretty soon. So let's talk with the folks who really don't vote. They don't feel like they should, but I got to give you a story. So one of my friends in North Alabama ran for mayor. Okay. And so our politics don't agree, but we're still friends. And so she didn't win. She lost by about 2 votes. And guess what? She found out 2 of her kids didn't vote.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, well, you're kidding me. They admitted to you that they didn't vote. I would have kept my trap shut. I would not have told my parents. I would have been like, I'm not telling them. And I said, boy, I bet Thanksgiving and Christmas was really interesting at your house. And she said, I believe it was. But if they had voted, it would have at least put it in a tie.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
Let me tell you what, my kids are my biggest fans. All my kids were little then, because this was 12 years ago. They were out there campaigning. My oldest son, who actually works for the business now, my daughter as well, they were out there helping me campaign, wearing the Jonathon Berryhill for state senate shirts. It was awesome. I got some great pictures and memories, but my family's everything, and family's everything. And that just goes to show you an example right there. Family needs to be involved. Get them involved. Get them involved with your business, with your life. Be intentional. That's a lot what my book is talking about, is being intentional with everything you do in life.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that and what your kids learned from your running for office and also your business, because you've got several successful businesses. What do you think the kids picked up when you were running for office?
I think they picked up that Dad was willing to serve again. I've served in the Army. I did 7 years in the military, almost 4 years in law enforcement. And I think it was a commitment, willing to make a change, willing to do things for others, and take the blunt, because a lot of folks don't realize, a lot of these political folks that are doing good, they're having to take pies in their face for the constituents because they're out there helping. And when they're in the, Senate floor or stuff like that, man, it can get violent. And if you watch in DC, it gets insane, and they're doing it for their constituents. And we need those people to go and do those things for us.
I'll tell you somebody I just love to listen to, and that's Kennedy from Louisiana. I love it, guy. I'm telling you what, the way and he insults people without insulting them. And this master at it. It's so good. It's like they dread him coming out, because they know what he's going to say. But it takes some backbone, it takes some spine, because you've got to go against monsters. You've got to go against like big folks.
Absolutely. There, because, and again, these are all Jonathon Berryhill's opinion. I think there's some bad people serving that don't need to be serving. They've took advantage of the office and it's time to go. So we need those good guys and gals, ladies going up there to defend us, to get those folks out, and also to help protect our city, our counties, our state, and our federal government. And so, to me, as much as people talk, oh, I hate politics, politics will set the standard for our economy, all the things. And so, not that I'm going to be just day to day embedded in politics because I have a business and a life to live, but I am going to stay up to date on what's going on. I am going to stay up to date on, issues that are out there, just so I can voice my opinion and pick up the phone and call my senators, my congressmen, my legislators, and say, hey, this is Jonathon Berryhill, a voice. I want this. This is my, I got a family of 6. I got 3 grandboys. And so, that's just what I'm going to do. And I learned all this when I ran for Senate. I wasn't as involved as I am now in politics because, again, it made me learn a lot. And it also made me respect these guys and gals, the men and women that do run for office. I'm like, wow, and then they do it a second time and a third time. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'd be so gray-headed it wouldn't matter anymore. I don't know that I knew my name, but there's some folks that know how to handle it. And I think if it's a God thing, that it'll work out for you. Let's talk about your book before we go. We've got about 2 minutes left in this segment.
So I'm in the final editing phase right now. I'm hoping to actually have it done this week. I'm working with my publisher. Warrior to Wealth is the name of it. You can go to johnberryhill.com, JONBERRYHILL.com. Give me your email. You'll get emails from me. I'm shooting for July to release the book. Of course, you know how that is. My timing isn't always his timing, and so on. So, that's the goal. But the book's about just, where I came from a broken home, didn't have my identity, who I was, almost wrecked my marriage, living paycheck to paycheck. Actually, I wasn't even living paycheck to paycheck. It was like paycheck would come, zoop, it was gone. And so it talks about once I became, Jonathon Berryhill, Warrior to Wealth, by using my past as fuel, not looking behind, but looking forward, everything started changing. Then I started being intentional with my marriage, with my being a dad, being a Christian man, and things just started changing drastically. And so the reason I wrote this book, again, I felt the Lord tugging me years ago to start writing this. And I did it because I thought, you know what, there may be one person out there that needs just a little spark like I did to give them hope and inspiration to be able to do something. And so that's why I wrote it, with the intent to hopefully change someone's life by saying, if this old guy can do it, John Berryhill, then by golly, I can do it too. And that is the truth.
Well, I can hardly get it because I'm always looking to be better. And
absolutely.
All the help I can possibly get. So I can't wait to get my hands on your book. John, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. That was a quick 30 minutes. I wish we had more time. And thank you guys so much for watching the show. Definitely love hearing from you. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. We'll see you next time, and you take care.